How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Season 3 of the Seng Media Podcast. I am your host, Vinny Seng, and I know it's been a while. I haven't been podcasting in the past, I believe, 4 to 6 months, maybe even up to 8 months to a year. I do apologize for that, but in this episode today of the podcast, we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be going over why I've been gone for so long. So, if you guys are here for the podcast and you're just listening in, go ahead and grab your favorite snack, go ahead and relax and listen. If you're driving, have a relaxing drive, but make sure you're keeping your eyes on the road. If you are joining me on YouTube, please consider subscribing, and I'm glad to have you here to see my reactions and stuff like that. And how do you guys like the new setup? Do you like the 2 cameras? Watch this, looking at camera 1, looking at camera 2, looking at camera 1, looking at camera 2. This probably just sounds weird for the people who are just listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast or Google Podcasts and stuff like that. But yes, I have a brand new setup. If you guys don't know, and if you don't follow me on my personal channel and stuff like that, and you only have listened to me on my podcast, I recently got the brand new Sony a7 IV. So now I am rocking a double camera setup. I'm very grateful. And let's get talking about the podcast. What are the topics today? You know, I haven't done this in a while. I'm trying to keep this as natural as possible. I hope that's why you guys like listening to me before and stuff like that. So let's just get into it. I'm going to be going over what Season 3 is going to be about, and I'm going to be going over why I've been gone for so long, why I haven't been filming and doing podcasts with you guys or for you guys or even for myself, and what was I doing during that break. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the reason why I stopped the Seng Media Podcast, we did 2 solid seasons. I believe Season 1 was 8 to 10 episodes, and we had a solid every episode coming out every Monday at 6 p.m. For a solid 8 weeks. And then I think I only took 2 weeks to a month break after that to start Season 2 and get the ball rolling. And as you guys know, with Season 1, Season 2, and the Seng Media Podcast in general, I wanted to get creatives on this podcast to talk about their creative journey. I wanted to get people around our same age or people with experience with what we're going through, whether it's been through college or graduating college and where we are now, that could help you with your everyday life. That was my overall goal with this podcast for you guys, is to make sure you can get real life experiences from real life people and see their perspectives, or my perspective as well, that could hopefully help you with something you're struggling with right now, or it gives you insight in that type of subject. So the reason why I stopped is because when I was doing the podcast, it was taking up a lot of my time. I didn't really know how to keep the ball rolling and stuff like that, and I kind of went on a limb and trying to keep the ball rolling myself. And it was really hard trying to get guests, at least in my opinion. Maybe I could have made it easier myself. I'm finding out new strategies, at least for this season and hopefully for the next and upcoming seasons, because I want to continue doing these podcasts for you guys now. I realize how much I love it, and even though it's not my main passion, it is something I will gladly be able to pick up, do, and still be passionate about it. But like I was saying, it was really hard getting guests to come on. It was a lot of texting back and forth, seeing when their schedule's ready, when my schedule's ready, what's a good time for us to hang out, get the story together, and talk naturally on the podcast about the story, the subject, whatever it may be. And usually that would take me, I would do a brainstorming process of who I would want on the podcast, or who has reached out to me and wanted to be on the podcast, or who should I consider to be on the podcast, and trying to get their schedule and saying, hey, would you want to talk about X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 and then they would respond saying, yeah, I would love to be on the podcast, we could talk about this, let's go back and forth and at least get some bullet points of what we're going to talk about, because if you guys don't know, like I said, everything we talk about on this podcast is natural, nothing is scripted. We have some points to talk about, but everything after that is purely just us, or just me. So it was really hard. I would usually have people come by, I think at least once to, I think most I had people come over 3 times a week, and it would take me about an hour to set everything up and make sure everything is straight, just because I want to make sure my guests feel comfortable. I have a water bottle waiting for them. I'm making sure I'm sanitizing the area because the COVID's still here. I make sure I have my whiteboard ready with the subjects we're talking about, and I want them to feel as comfortable as possible. And then we start practice running before we start getting into the podcast. And as you guys know, my previous podcast usually would stand around 20 to 40 minutes, so a pretty long podcast, and that would take up the time, and we would usually, get lunch after or something like that, and then I would have the file sitting, and it would take me a while to edit it because I didn't have a fast enough computer, and these are really large file sizes. But I think I'm just going on a tangent right now. It's just that the podcast did take a lot of my time, and this is what it was leading to. Okay, this is what I was trying to say. It was taking a lot of time, and I was trying to get back onto the focus of the things that I want to do, which is short films, acting, modeling, and creative directing. And I wasn't really doing that much. I was mainly just doing the podcast. And don't get me wrong, I love it when I see you guys out there, and it's like, yo, you're Vinny from the podcast, right? And stuff like that. I love that. I love to hear it. And I'm glad that you guys are getting something out of this and you are loving the podcast. It's just during those couple of weeks when I was trying to get back into freelancing and just, bringing my creative self back out there, I just felt like I couldn't balance everything at once. I felt like if I did balance everything at once, I was going to collapse and fall. And I just didn't want to burn out and do that to myself. So what I said was, I'm going to take a break from the podcast. I don't know if I'm bringing it back. I said I was going to bring it back, actually. It was always in the back of my head, but I thought it wasn't going to be for a while because I needed to see how to schedule myself with the other things I wanted to do. And if you guys don't know what those other things are, like I said, I love creative directing, I love acting and modeling and stuff like that. That's my main passion, what I want to go into. I want to be a content creator, act, and make my stories come to life, you know what I'm saying? So I took a break and I started a company, a creative group, basically, with my friends, and I kind of just went full throttle with it with my ideas because I was basically tired of waiting. I didn't want to wait, and I had these ideas, and I was like, what's stopping me from doing it? I was scared of COVID. I was scared that people couldn't see each other, but then I was like, you know what? Let me make these ideas come to life because there's no point of waiting. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, there's a power of patience, but there's the power of just starting and just doing it. And if you don't follow Collective Renaissance, I'll put the link in the bio. I'll put their ads right here and stuff like that. And hopefully you can check them out. But that is the creative group that I'm a part of, and I started diving more into creative directing again. I was in front of the camera again, acting. I mean, not that I wasn't in front of the camera on the podcast, but I was challenging myself, if that makes sense. I was trying to come up with storyboards, coming up with ideas, and executing them while acting, trying to display the emotion and make those stories come to life. And then on top of that, I had another business that I started with friends called Create and Capture Media. Put the ads right here if you're watching on YouTube, and I'll put the link in the bio. But we're a DMV production company that focuses on commercial work, event work, and promotional work. And I just wanted to see where I was going with their full throttle. I mean, one, it was the main source of making my money. Two, it was challenging me on trying to speak with clients and do business and really see what I can do behind the camera. And I was basically treating those two things like my baby, where Color brought my creative ideas and CC Media brought out my business ideas, being creative. And the podcast kind of just took a break, and my personal content just kind of took a break as well. I was trying to just figure it out, and I'm glad to announce that, Color is consistently posting content right now, and it's going to keep on posting content. I have more ideas for that and stuff like that. Create and Capture Media it's going through the waves of, like getting business and stuff like that, but at least I know that I'm able to do that and go full throttle with that as well. And I found a perfect balance of doing that with doing the podcast, my personal content as well, and I wanted to come back. But that was taking up a lot of my time of why I wasn't, filming the podcast. Another reason is, I honestly have been on a creative rut too. I stockpiled content for Collective Renaissance. I was doing a lot of gigs at the end of the year of 2021 for creating capture media, and I just found myself burnt out, and I was honestly in a creative rut. I was trying to find myself and figure things out because I was honestly finding the definition of me. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, what was stopping me, why do I feel like this, X, Y, and Z. And I know a lot of us go through this as creatives and stuff like that. And I'm going to have a podcast episode talking about that in more detail. But I just needed to take that break because I just was like, all right, what do I want to do? What do I want to figure out? And how I'm going to start. So I just stopped completely doing anything. I stockpiled my contact for Collective Renaissance. I finished my gigs with creating capture media, and I just sat down and was like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to bring back? What do I want to start trying to do? And I don't know if it's the new year or something, or the end of the year goals, or when they say you hit rock bottom, that's when you start pushing full throttle. I just was tired of it. I said, I know I need money, one thing. Two, I can't let these creative dreams fall. Three, why am I waiting, like I said. Four, just start and just do it, just F it and create. And what was a huge motivation in bringing me back was I figured out my schedule. I know how I want to post things. I know how I want to schedule things. And I know how to do it in a way where it won't burn me out and I will still be having fun and doing the stuff that I love for you guys. And it was really motivating to see that on some of people's 2021's wrap up, I was a top podcast for them. Shout out to Miguel for sending that over. But it's also hearing from my mutual friends saying like, hey, like what happened to, your friend, the podcast guy? He hasn't been posting in a while and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, wow, people actually listen to my podcast, and it was very moving, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm bringing it back. So I'm glad that I'm back, and I hope you guys are happy to have me back. And that concludes why I've been gone. I hope that all made sense, and I could clarify more later if you let me know in the comments below, or shoot me a DM at Vinny Seng on Instagram if you have any more ideas, or if you just had any questions that I left out. But let's talk about what this season is going to be about. It's still going to be the same things, but I want to talk more about growth. I want to be more personal on these podcasts. I'm still going to have guests coming on, but you're going to be seeing a lot of more sorry about that for your headphone users and stuff like that. I hit my table. But I'm going to start what I said. I said growth. Being more solo. I want to talk about more of my personal experiences and how I can help you guys, but there will still be guests on this show talking about stuff and relatable things that are happening to this day, and interesting subjects where they specialize in and we can talk back and forth in, so don't worry about that. But I want to make sure this podcast stays relatable, stays uncut, and it gives you the motivation at the end of the day to do things that you want to do or open those perspectives. So just expect more creative talks, expect more everyday life stuff, expect more motivation, and just look forward to season 3. Your support means the world to me. Thank you for everyone that reached out asking about the podcast, or talked to my friends saying, where does the podcast, and wanting it to come back. And if you have been watching me from day one when I started vlogs to doing podcasts to doing short films and stuff like that, I greatly appreciate it. If you could please, give me a follow, give me a subscribe, like, comment, share. It really does help me out with the algorithm and show me that I'm doing something right, and it's really helping out. It really means a lot to me. If you could also follow the other companies that I talked about that I'm a part of, because I really do put my heart and soul into those companies as well. And it is a reflection and an extension of me. Not yes, this is my personal content, but when I dive into color, it's creative. It's like these short films I've been thinking about is these relatable stories, and like I wanted to be more than just me, because it is a crew. It is my friends. It is all of us that started it. It's the actors, the people that are helping me videograph it. It's the people who are helping me storyboard, and everyone in there puts their 100% effort into it when they are helping in the project, and they're just full of talented people. So go ahead and give Color please a follow. I'll put it in the link as well and stuff like that. So, and Create and Capture Media, shout out to them for just pushing me business-wise and, being motivated, learning these new camera skills. So I hope you can see that this podcast has had a huge improvement. I still want to upgrade the studio and stuff like that. I have some ideas. I am thinking of a new logo. If any of you guys are designers out there and you have some design ideas, hit me up. But thanks for being here with me, and look forward for future podcasts. Have a great day. Stay motivated. Have a great day. Stay motivated. And my new motto, F it, just create.